What's going on? What's going on, world? Hank back with Sports Game Vision. Back with my other show called Sports Unfiltered, Unleashed, Uncensored, all the uns. Just me here, my background, talking to you about some sports and some news. In particular, a lot of stuff that's going on right now. And for today or recently, Jalen Brunson has signed a contract extension with the New York Knicks to stay with them for another 4 years. He's saving over $100 million for the team so that his teammates can possibly sign some extensions themselves and they can all stay together. $156 million, and he's leaving. Like I say, he's leaving over $100 million on the table. If he'd have waited a year, by next year, he would have been able to get over 230 or $50 million to stay with the Knicks and play with that new CBA or the new TV contract that's about to be signed and ratified with the commissioner in the NBA. So he is a superstar and a legend already by doing this. They talking about they're gonna build a statue for him. I do see that the team is going to be winning for quite a while now with this transaction. As long as everybody stays healthy and if everyone stays together, even if he does go down, it will hurt the team. If he goes down, it would hurt the team. But you bring back Randall, you bring back Bridges, you bring back DiVincenzo and Hart. Everybody's going to be fine. They should be able to withstand and stay pat until one of them gets back. As long as everybody's not hurt, it won't be a problem. But yeah, this is a big deal for the Knicks to be able to sign him for that amount of money, saving money under the cap. I seen something where it's like this is reminiscent of Tim Duncan and Tony Parker taking a lot of pay cuts to stay with the San Antonio Spurs. And if I'm not mistaken, Dirk took a lot of pay cuts as well while staying in Dallas so they can keep the ball rolling down there and try to get a championship, which he got one before he stepped away. And of course, we already know the sacrifice that Udonis Haslam did down in Miami before he retired. So, yeah, this is going to be a big deal for the Knicks. I do see them on top of that division for quite some time and hopefully bringing a championship to the city. So, shout out again to Jalen Brunson. He's one of my favorite point guards right now. Let's see them have a great season next year and possibly get to the championship. But with that being said, they do have another contender. I wanted to talk about that. The Philadelphia Sixers are really stacking up a great team right now. I'm looking at this right now. They've got a lot of people that they've signed to help Joel Embiid, including the big one of Paul George. They re-signed or gave an extension to Tyrese Maxey. They just got Kelly Oubre back. They signed Caleb Martin, and they've got Andre Drummond, and I think they just agreed to the contract with Gary Trent from Toronto, and KJ Martin has signed a new contract to stay with them. So yeah, they have a deep squad to make a run, man. As long as Embiid, it's always about Embiid. He stays healthy and everybody else is pretty healthy. They're gonna have something to say about the championship picture next year. Boston has a lot of target. It's got a big target on their back this coming up year, defending that championship. New York's on them. The Philadelphia 76ers absolutely has something to say about it. They've got other teams in the Eastern Conference that are also going to cause Boston trouble. The Miami Heat, just to name a few, Cleveland Cavaliers. I think there's going to be other teams on the rise as well. They're going to cause trouble in the East. But those are your main culprits at the top: New York, Philly, Miami, Boston, Cleveland. All the other teams are kind of going through a lot of roster changes, but we'll see. The NBA Cup, which was also announced, the groups were announced. They got the East group, they got the West group brought down in A, B, and C. They start in the same time frame as last year, going to Vegas, I believe, to to play games and win the championship games as well. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. It was no longer the in-season tournament name. It's called the NBA Cup. They were toying around with changing that name pretty much at the end of last year. And I believe the women is also called pretty much the same thing. So it matches up and a little bit cleaner, but I still like the in-season tournament. It's kind of cool, aka the in-season tournament, but it's the NBA Cup, and I'm sure it's going to be bigger, brighter. It was very fun last year seeing that in-season tournament. All the players played pretty, tough games, hard games, had fun. It was a exciting time to watch. It wasn't boring. Like a lot of times, the start of the season can be a little sluggish. They had brought passion into the game last year, so I think it's going to be pretty much similar this year. More stake, more money, and more eyeballs, and more network dollars. Meaning, I think the players are going to really go for it. The organizations are going to go for it as well. And we saw what happened last year. Of course, the Lakers won it, and they didn't win the finals, but they did make the playoffs. But Indiana Pacers, the young team, I was saying that on the channel that it's going to probably help some young teams advance further. It did. Pacers end up going a little bit further in the playoffs and got to the conference championship. Who will it be this year? Will it help other teams go further in the playoffs? We'll see. So before we get out of here, because I don't want to hold you too long, I do want to talk about Jaylen Brown and that whole USA debacle that's going on right now, him being snubbed. I did talk about it on a live. Go check that out on the channel previously this week. But I forgot to talk about one thing in particular. I also didn't talk about the fact that, was this what Stephen A was talking about, him being unmarketable earlier this past season, earlier this year, earlier this summer, whenever it was. It wasn't that long ago. He was talking about it. I believe it was in the playoffs, that he was unmarketable. And come to find out, because I really wasn't paying attention to his shoe deals, is that he has no shoe contract. Especially the big names like him have contracts with some type of shoe company. He's a free agent. He wears different companies. And for Nike, he has, he's kind of been defiant with them and testing them and calling them out on things. He wears their shoes, but he takes the swoosh off, or he covers up the swoosh. And even he was wearing the Kobe Bryant's before, I believe the family kind of worked it out contractually to bring the Kobe shoes back. So it was kind of like a smack in the face to Nike a little bit, I guess, because they hadn't resolved their Kobe brand issue. So that's resolved, but he just doesn't, he doesn't wear the swoosh. And also he defended Kyrie. I just found out recently that they both have the same faith, which I believe that's a tie in that too, them both being Muslim, and of course their points of view. So yeah, he's definitely marketable. He's a conference champion MVP, a finals MVP, a champion, and he's one of the best players in the league and one of the best players in the world. Absolutely should be on Team USA. It's crazy that something as a gym shoe, something as simple as a gym shoe, will keep a player off the team. That's ridiculous. The FIBA, Team USA, NBA needs to do something about that. It's also something I talked about earlier in my other video. Go check the live out. That even Gilbert Arenas talks about. It ruins the AAU game and college game as well with all these camps. So yeah, they got to do something about that. You don't eliminate your best player off a team for a shoe contract and some dispute over that. So I'm pretty sure he'd be professional enough to wear the Nike apparel while he's playing for the team. I'm pretty sure he would do that. So that wouldn't even be a problem. But anyhow, shout out to Jalen, shout out to Kyrie, who also probably should be on the team. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section about everything I just talked about. How do you feel about Jalen Brunson leaving money on the table? I wanted him to take it. I wanted him to take it. It's still a lot of money. He already had the 100 million. He's getting 150 now. And that other money that he's putting on the table, he's going to definitely make that back up in the New York market space. Just alone in the New York market space, out there with all that money's in New York, not to mention what other stuff he does nationally and internationally. He'll make all that money back. But it's just, yeah, it's cool. Keep the team together and try to get a championship to New York and for himself. So what you think about that, let me know in the comment section. Let me know about the snub and the Nike beef. Also, who you think is going to come out that East. Didn't talk about the West yet. I talked about New York and Philly. Well, who you think is going to come out the East next year? Early predictions. Again, like, share, subscribe, follow, and I will see you again next time. Sports Game Unfiltered, please.